Welcome to another episode of Maximilian Must Know. This is going to be a scent safari episode, and the house we're going to look at today is one called Six Scents, and this is going to be Scent Safari. Now, for those of you who do not know how Scent Safari works, basically this is sort of a series where on my channel I reach out to a house that I have some interest in, ask them to send me some samples. If they do, I pick four. And I sort of do a first impression on the house, basically. And how I do that first impression is the day I film the video, I'll spray these four fragrances on my skin, and then later in the day, right before I film, I'll sort of refresh them, respray them, so I sort of have a good feel of how the fragrances will go through a day. The top, the mid, and the dry down. But then I sort of get a good a little bit of a refresher on how those top notes will be. And this is a house called Six Scents, which I've been interested in really since I saw them, I think almost 5-6 years ago at the West Village at C.O. Bigelow, which is an old school apothecary in the West Village that did stock these. And I just love the names of the scents. Illicit Sex, Can't Smell Fear, Napa Noir. And what's really cool is that this house was initially put together and is still ran by a gentleman named Joseph Cortana, with the intention sort of merging fashion and fragrances. And so different designers like Jeremy Scott and Philip Lim would collaborate with top perfumers to make the fragrances. So I reached out to Joseph, and he's super excited to launch a brand new collection called Le Potion Fatale, under the name Parfum Cortina. And the concept here was 9 fragrances. Each one is based on a poisonous flower used either for murder, suicide, or magical rites. So this is right up my alley. And then there are these little films on the site meant to accompany each fragrance, and I of course will link to the site in the description. One of the images I used in my intro, which was the beautiful sort of goth girl with the glasses being splattered by blood, was from one of the videos. And they're really neat little films inspired by supernatural and occult films from the 70s and 80s, stuff by Lynch and Argento and Kenneth Anger. Kenneth Anger, by the way, did a wonderful film. I think it's called Lucifer Rising, with Bobby Beausoleil, who was eventually convicted of murder in the Gary Hinman death with the Manson family, but that's a whole nother topic we might get into another day on this channel. Films by David Cronenberg. So just really awesome concept here. I love hot girls, goth girls with tattoos and glasses being covered by blood. So let's forget all that. Forget I even said that. Let's just go through the 4 of the 9. Now these are all available for pre-order on the site, and Twisted Lily in Brooklyn will be carrying these. So you'll be able to check these out. I think a lot of these are going to be hype trains in the fragrance community because they're really good. Prices are going to range from like $145 to $185 for 50 ml. So good pricing for niche. Let's get into them. Each fragrance was done by a different perfumer. The first one is called Mandrake. Now this one was done by Carlos Vinales. I'm not familiar with his work, and the notes we get in this one are crisp apple, pomegranate, birch leaf, birch root, bergamot, mandrake, flower accord, rhubarb, cardamom, suede leather, deadly addiction accord, patchouli, Madagascar vanilla, sandalwood, and tonka. And to me, guys, this one is just a beautiful masculine fragrance, and for me, the most wearable of the fragrances. Now, it does have the apple and birch here, so of course the first thing I thought was obvious was Aventus, and it does remind me a little bit of Aventus, but I'm getting my refresh now. This one has a lot more going on. This one would probably be the one that I'd buy and do a full in-depth review on. Really like the mix here of crisp fruit notes with some birch smokiness, and then you get some leather, some woods, and vanilla. Guys, I think this one's signature scent worthy. I have to say, I really enjoy the apple note here. It's like a crisp apple note. It's not that sort of apple cidery stewed note you get in fragrances, you know, sometimes like Amber Narguilé or Sushi Imperial, which I don't really even think Sushi Imperial has an apple note, but sort of that apple pie stewed apple note. This is more of a crisp, fresh apple note with some leather and birch. This is a great fragrance. I think it's very masculine. I think any man could wear this. I think this would be a great fragrance out of the collection. The next one I want to talk to you guys about is called Digitalis, and David Appel did this one. I'm sure you guys who know fragrances know David Appel. He did Unforgivable for Sean John. He did Wall Street for Bond Number 9. He did one of my favorite springtime fragrances ever, Bleecker Street for Bond Number 9. Notes here are galbanum, iris, cucumber, basil, pepper. Pick up all the green here. Ozonic notes, coriander leaf, violet, neroli, rose, jasmine, gentian, incense, fern, moss, and violet leaf. Guys, this one is super green. Appel likes his cucumber, and you get a big dose of that here, along with some galbanum and iris. Refreshing and bright, woody base, spicy woody base. But this one to me is about crisp green notes, almost garden-like. This one will make you smell really fresh and clean, a little peppery, but just clean and green. And this one does something crazy in the dry down. It almost gets greener and brighter, if that's possible. I also get like a little pop of mandarin orange as this one dries down, but I could be wrong about that. Each nose is different, guys. You know the drill. That's what I get out of it. Next one on the docket is Hemlock. By the way, how dope are these little sample packs with that sort of tie-dye insert? And just so you know, they come in these little spray vials, so the sample pack's a great option if you want to go that route. They're also available on the website, but Hemlock is up next. Now, the perfumer here is Christelle Lepard. I am unfamiliar with that perfumer's work, but notes on this one are rum, pink pepper, Calabrian bergamot, green leaves, white flowers, cinnamon, cloves, jasmine, sambac, styrax, vinyl, magnolia, cyclamen, salt, benzoin, vanilla, suede, sandalwood, patchouli, tonka bean, musk, and amberwood. Another good one for me. This opens up with a big burst of like sweet rum and pink pepper, and then you get a lot of spice, cinnamon, clove, tonka, some white florals, a pinch of indolic jasmine. Just a lot going on here, very nuanced. I think out of the four, this one has the most depth. We're talking about reminds me a little bit of Straight to Heaven by Killian. The rum notes are comparable, and then it also has that jasmine. This one also I think is a bottle worthy fragrance for me. Need to test it more. Also, I need to let you guys know these bottles are very cool. They have this like blue glass. I think I put a photo in the intro, but blue glass with a silver disc in the middle. So just really cool bottles. And I really enjoy this one. So guys, let's finish this one up with one called Wolfsbane. And the perfumer here is going to be Philippe Paparel Paris. I believe this is the first fragrance he's done. Note-wise, we get Angelica, Fig Leaf, cumin, ginger, absinthe, patchouli, cedar, tuberose, tobacco blossom, castoreum, benzoin, sandalwood, vetiver, and tuberose. A really nice, sweet, herbal fragrance here. I get fig leaf. I get a nice dose of that Angelica. To me, that gives this a boozy, I want to say gin vibe. I don't really get the absinthe. I get some tobacco. And you might think booze and tobacco is going to make this a heavy fragrance. Oh, you're dealing with a very heavy fragrance here. It's not. It's stout. It's not weak, but it's fresh and light, but it's substantial. It's gourmand. Not a lot of cumin here. This one is kind of hard to describe, but I like it a lot. It's a little syrupy, very different. It's unusual. And the note breakdown looks jumbled, but somehow this one winds up making sense. No sense makes sense. Charles Manson said that. Don't quote me, don't quote him. It's a mistake. But a very nice scent, and I think a very well done scent. So what's my takeaway on this line? I really enjoy this one. I think when this is out, you guys need to take a good look at this. With this many fragrances, there's going to be something for everyone, and you guys know I like perfumers that push boundaries, and I think Joseph did a really good job here as a creative director, pushing boundaries. You know, as someone who did Maxed Out and is working on my next project with House of Matriarch, I want to push things as far as they can go, and I want fragrances to be more than just a jumble of notes. I want them to be conceptual. I want them to represent something solid, a time, place, person, thing, something that will make you think of something else, not just a combination of different essential oils. So I respect anyone who does this at a very high level, and I think Joseph has spent his entire time directing, making sure he does that in any way possible, whether working with designers or just perfumers, trying to create something substantial. And I think this line representing poison flowers is very substantial, and I think what's better is it's so easy to just be avant-garde and be like, oh, I'm gonna be fucking whacked out and make something different and crazy. Anyone could do that. I'm telling you, anyone could do that. But to make them smell good and to have a theme running throughout the collection, I think that's the tough part. And I think Sixth Sense does a really good job. I think these all represent the intent, but I think they're also very wearable and very well done. And I think the perfumers who worked on them did excellent jobs as well. So I'm going to link to the website. Again, Twisted Lily should have these a little bit later, but keep checking in. Go to the website, pick up the sample pack. These are just great fragrances, very well packaged, very well done. I'm super stoked to have been able to preview these for you guys, and I'll be back with a lot more Scent Safaris coming up soon, a lot more surprises on my channel. And I just want to thank you guys all for tuning in. Please support this house. This is a project I'm super stoked about and I really believe in, so I'd like you to show Joseph some love and pick up some of these, because I think they're very much worthy, and I think some of these are going to be huge hits in the fragrance community, one way or the other. And I'll see you guys again real soon with more videos, guys. You already know what it is.